Omar Samad is a former Afghan diplomat and a senior fellow over at the Atlantic Council. He joins us from Washington, D.C. Omar, good to have you back on the show. All right, so the Taliban say they are in control. I understand that. The National Resistance say that the Taliban's claims are false. I understand that too. Whether they are or not, is that insignificant? I mean, is it just a matter of time?
Well, the Taliban seem to have a strong grip over almost all of the country. Their flag was, as of a few hours ago, was flying over the Panjshir governor's office and the security building. There are probably, definitely, some resistance actions in the side valleys, and maybe is right outside of Panjshir. You might occasionally see such actions across Afghanistan if there are still remnants of either the ex-government forces who are on the run, or maybe new resistance or old resistance forces who may want to reorganize themselves. But overall, I think the situation seems to be under the control of the Taliban across the country. But in Afghanistan, things can change rapidly without indications. At times, history has seen a lot of upheavals in the country. At this point, I think the focus is going to shift back to Kabul.
Okay, let's shift the conversation to Kabul then. I mean, what's your feeling on the new government and that's to be announced soon?
Well, that's the big question. First of all, when is it going to be announced? Secondly, what kind of government is going to be announced? And thirdly, is it going to satisfy not only some Afghan stakeholders' demands and expectations, but also regional and international expectations of the Taliban at this point? There's a lot of messaging. There's a lot of rhetoric. There's a lot of statements that have been made over the past few days by different countries, different governments, and different stakeholders. And the Taliban are under some sort of pressure. At the same time, there are some questions as to whether the Taliban are all unified on the way forward with the government. There are rumors that they may have differences of opinion. I think at the end of the day, they will have to come together on a formula that works not only for them, but also for most of the other stakeholders.
Okay, you mentioned that regional and international countries were expecting something. A lot of people are making statements. One of the statements is actually coming out from the Taliban, and they have confirmed in the past several days, the leader of Pakistan's ISI and Abdul Ghani Baradar, they said that the Taliban will not allow any country, including Pakistan, to interfere in Afghanistan's internal affairs. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, that is what the Taliban have been saying all along. And they claim that they fought this war in order to end foreign interference, foreign occupation, so on and so forth, alluding to the American and NATO presence in Afghanistan. At this stage, I think the Afghan people obviously are going to watch and see what kind of relationship they're going to establish and nurture with not only all our neighbors, especially with Pakistan, because of the special links that have existed over the past 25 years between the Taliban and Pakistan. And I think at the same time, Pakistan is very concerned about what might happen in Kabul if the Taliban are unable to meet certain expectations, if they're unable to put forward a government that is, to some degree, relatively speaking, acceptable, and that they may fear a backlash as well. So they also have some concerns, and they also probably know their limits, the same way that the Taliban and others have to know their limits. In Afghanistan, it's all about how to balance things out.
Omar Samad, always a pleasure having you on. Thanks for putting a lot of these things into perspective. I appreciate it.